brother sewing and crafting family. Angela Wolf here. I'm so excited to see you. I think I say that every week. My husband said you have to come up with something different. I go, but I am excited to see you. So welcome everyone. You know what this month is. Yeah, look above. National Sewing Crafting Month. Is it sewing? No, it's National Sewing Month. I call it sewing and crafting, but that's the key. And we've got another great show for you today. So I would love to know in the chat, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you think of applique? So appliques come a long ways. And as you're going to see, Tina, Cathy Gandy are here. Tina Bartelmay. I just saw Cathy pop in. So we've got some fun things for you, but I want to know what you think when you think applique, because when I first started embroidering and doing more on the crafting, I call it crafting side, but now it really is not. All I could think of is a towel with like a duck on it or something that would hang over my, I don't think it was a duck really. It was probably more of a pan, although I don't really correlate that much. So it probably did look like a duck over my stove. And I never thought of cool stuff for garments, but I was just chatting with Tina and wait to see what she's wearing. So leave a comment below. What's the first thing you think of when you think of applique? And now I'm bring up your educators. I've got Tina and I've got Cathy Gandy. I'm going to bring Tina up first. Tina. I'm so excited for this. And you know what? I really don't, I mean, I'm kidding. I do know what a pan looks like, but I just always remember this duck. And I don't know where the duck came from, but it was like one of those cute summer things. And I think it was an applique, but I was talking about your sweater, which is gorgeous. And that's an applique. Yeah.
It is.
I have an idea.
Oh, let's hear it. I can't wait.
I have an idea. Because you all see those roses. You probably follow our live shows every week. You might follow my show that's on Wednesdays. And a couple weeks ago, I cut this beautiful top out of a knit, which I love. And it matches the roses in my new embroidery collection that is exclusive to the Avenir. And I was debating if I wanted to just embroider right on the knit or what should I do? And I looked at you and I said, wait, how did you do that? How did you do it?
Super easy. I just basically stitched them directly on organza with a water-soluble stabilizer. And then when it was done, I took a heat tool and ran around the edges of the organza. And so all the extra went away. And then I just basically stitched them right on the sweater. So it couldn't have been any, and you don't have to worry about goofing up anything because, you know, you got it on organza.
That's super easy. That was my favorite line. If you screw it up, you just start another one. All right, everybody's dropping notes about their favorite. It's so nice to see you all again this week, by the way. Love to know what's on your sewing table. So Tina, I'm going to let you kick it off because you've got a ton of samples. And I know I'm not going to ask the first question, even though I've got like 6 just looking at your backdrop, but I'll let you take it away first.
Okay. All right. Well, I thought we'd talk about we'll start with some embroidery basics. The process and some of the most common stitches that we use in applique. And then from there, we'll just start combining things and hopefully you guys will get some great ideas. So I'm gonna pop over to my other camera really quick and let's start with something really basic. So if you haven't done applique work before, it's typically a 3-step process. Here's a placement stitch and think of that as the target for where you're gonna lay your fabric, or in this case, you see I use glitter HTV. Then you have a tack down stitch, a little hard to see here because I have white thread, but it holds it in place if you're going to fussy cut. Although, y'all, I'll be honest, I mostly cut everything out on the scan and cut before I start my applique project. I just put the contact sheet on the back, the fusible adhesive, stick it on my standard mat on the scan and cut and pre-cut it because I don't like fussy cutting, but that's another opportunity for you. And then you have a finish stitch, and you can see here that I have a satin stitch for my finish. And that's probably one of the most common finishing stitches for applique. Now, what's really cool about applique is it's quick, it's easy to do, it takes less time to complete your project, and in the marketplace, it has a higher perceived value. So that makes it a great candidate for gifting, or if you're trying to sell some things that you make. But let's look at some of the combinations. So here is an applique. This is the high school one of my daughters teaches at. And I've got satin stitches for both. But you see I've got 2 different materials here. The green is a glitter HTV. And then the blue is a microfiber, like a cleaning cloth. So it's kind of like a faux chenille technique. Isn't that fun to get all kinds of visual interest? And again, it's a really cute and quick project to do. Now, you know, a standard kind of applique would be with fabric. So here's an example of fabric applique. And this one, of course, has a run stitch or a bean stitch border. So this is more what people typically call raw edge applique. And especially if you're putting it on something like a garment or a towel that's going to get washed a bunch of times, it's going to be really important that you have that iron-on fusible behind it. Otherwise, it'll shred and just pull up right off of those stitches. So bean or run stitch is another great finishing option. Here's another kind of example here. So again, you see I've got two different fabrics here. They both have a bean stitch finish on here, but this combination of kind of layering your fabrics to create some more visual interest, I think is a really fun technique in applique. I do lots and lots of that. So we've seen a couple examples then of the run stitch, but we have more options. So let's look at a couple other ones and then we'll come back out and talk about these. So here's an example where I've got blanket stitch. You can see the blanket stitch here, and you can see it on the individual chevrons up in here, and then combined with a satin stitch. And of course, then the photos were actually printed with the Print Moda printer. So a really fun way to kind of memorialize some family adventures trip I did with the girls. But again, you can see you can combine the different types of stitches in a single project. Now, the next one is really kind of cool, and you may not have tried this before, but have you ever thought about putting a puffy stitch and puffy foam as your finishing stitch to hold down your applique? How fun is that? It's very, very textural, right? And you get a lot of detail around those edges. So that's kind of a fun one. And then the last one, in terms of types of finishing stitches, this one's actually, for those of you with the Luminaire, you're probably familiar with this design. It's one of the Disney collections. But look here, they're actually using a candlewick stitch to finish out the applique piece there. A little harder to see in here, but these are kind of a modified zigzag on these two components. But I really like the candlewick stitch. So Angela, I'm dying to see that.
That candle wicking stitch looked gorgeous. So is that in my design center where you just turn the stitch on? Did you do it that way?
It's actually part of the design that's actually on the machine, but you can, and I'll show you later how you can use the decorative stitches that are in the design center to kind of create your own thing.
Oh, I love that. So I was watching the chat, and also I was just, that chevron you made reminds me of my organizing baskets. So I think it would look perfect with a hanging. When we were talking about organizing last week, that could be a gorgeous hanging area for all of my scissors and stuff. Maybe I'll hang it on the door instead of, that's very pretty. Question for you though. Last time you were on here, or a few times ago maybe, when you were talking about puffy foam with the embroidery, a lot of people were asking, what's the weight that you're using? Do you have to change the needle? Can you give a few tips for that?
Yeah, actually, puffy foam is super easy to work with. It comes in different thicknesses. So 2 millimeters and 3 millimeters are probably the most common. I have recently kind of experimented a little bit with a 5 millimeter foam. I have not perfected my stitch characteristics for the 5 millimeter foam, but the 2 and the 3 millimeter foam are super easy to use, easy to find. You don't have to have a special needle because it's soft. And what's cool about the puffy foam is, basically, if you're not familiar with the stitch type, it's a satin stitch, it's a modified satin. So you remove the underlayment and you increase the density of your stitches because you want to cover all that foam material. And then imagine it's like a straight line. You also have end cap stitches at either end that keep the foam from kind of oozing out. But once you have the stitch in place, and if you're not into digitizing, there's lots of puffy foam designs available in the marketplace as well. But yeah, just stitch it with a 7511 needle. And when you're done stitching, the excess peels away like a perforated sticker. It's so cool and easy and quick to use.
And it's such a rich look. And if you went to buy that, I found a couple hats recently. I was looking at some other fun just gifts. And I'm like, why am I looking for gifts? Well, I kind of look for ideas. And I'm thinking, should I buy this or should I do it? And after watching you, I'm going to do it. Okay. Yeah. Miss Maureen wants to know, is that designed? I think it was Miss Maureen that said that. Oh, yes. Is that designed on the Luminaire?
Yes, it is.
Oh, she's all like, I see the question marks with the happy face. Everyone's saying, love the candle wicking. Yeah. Yeah, Cindy, you can watch this. You can watch this again. When we're finished, we're live right now, which you're on. And then when you're finished, come back to Facebook. The easiest way is to share this onto your Facebook page. All right. And oh, Gwen says on the still air also.
Yes, she's correct.
Oh, you guys are so good. And I don't know that. I never can remember what design is where, but I love it. So, hey, Tina, let's just take real quick. Cathy Gandy's going to join us. She's having a little bit of technical difficulties. I'm just going to bring her up to see if we can see her. If we can, she's going to join the party. If not, Tina has so much for you that we can fill up 4 hours. So, hi, Cathy. How are you? See, I see you. We can see you. Hey, Cathy, how are you? You know what? We lost her mic, so I'm going to bring her back down. And while she's fixing that, we can see her, though, which was great. Tina, I see a lot of people asking about the cat behind you.
They like that kitty cat, huh?
I like the kitty cat. I need one with raccoons.
Well, this weekend I started working on some pet themed projects. And so I may never have actual grandkids, but I have grandkitties and I have grand puppies. So that's kind of the theme behind me. The cat is actually a collage quilt. So it's basically just, it's kind of like a little puzzle piece with different colors of fabric on it. But let me show you something because I used one of the quilting fills for the Avenir that is so perfect for that quilt. So let me pop over here real quick and just turn it up. It's easier to see on the back side. It's kind of busy on the front, so a little bit hard to see.
Oh, look at that.
Right? So you got all the kitties chasing all the yarn balls. Whoops. I just knocked the cat down. Oh, well.
Here comes Randy.
When I go with the other camera, he'll fix all that for me in a second. But oh yeah, it was really fun and easy. Look, the poor kitty, he's hiding his face now because I knocked him down. But that's cute. And then the little puppies are just different raw edge appliques of the dogs, and then just wearing different outfits. And can you see the one at the top that's with the angel wings that says, "No, Mom, I did not eat the cookies."
Oh, that's adorable. That's so cute. Hey, Linda, there's not an echo on our part, so only advice I could give you is check to see if you have this open on 2 screens, because that's usually what happens with that. Julie says, so adorable. So adorable. All right. So, Tina, I'm going to bring Cathy up one more time. I see her here. We're going to give one more little chance here. Looks like she's unmuted. Cathy, can you see us?
I can see you, yes.
Oh, we can hear you too.
Wonderful.
Can you hear me?
All right. We can. So, and before we lose you, because I know there's been a little bit of technology issue today. I know you've already seen what Tina's been doing. You have some fun ideas for applique as well. Kind of.
Well, I'm not exactly sure everything that Tina said. I've been in and out. But I was thinking about I think Tina's been concentrating on machine applique, which I love to do. And I have a few things that, like this here. This is the machine applique from the Stellaire. So I took some organza fabric and I did a fill on it and then used that to do my applique. So you can make your own fabric to do your appliques with.
That's beautiful, Cathy.
I also wanted to, and those stitches on there, those are heirloom stitches that are on most of our machines. They're just gorgeous. So if you haven't tried our heirloom stitches, give them a try. They're really fun. That bridging stitch just sews beautifully. And this is a cork. So when you use cork, when you applique on cork, you want to make sure that you have a fabric backed cork so it doesn't perforate. But this is just a cute little notebook cover. So that's a few of the, and then another thing is, if you want to do an applique on a busy fabric, you need to do it on a plain fabric first and then applique it. So I have this inside of this jacket, And this was an Alice in Wonderland design that I did on fabric that matched the jacket and then appliqued it onto the lining.
That's beautiful.
So that's another way to do an applique.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. But in the sewing side of the machine, we have these wonderful taper stitches now. So I did a hexagon. I don't know if you can
just hold it up and
see
like
the corners
right there.
there.
Nope. There you go.
But I did, this is 120 degrees. This is a 120 degree angle. So I changed it to 60 degrees, and you can see those two stitches that meet there in the corner are angled. So I could just sew it and turn my corner without those crossing. So if you have the tapering feature, give it a try. It's a wonderful thing for our applique.
So just while you're there,
I had
I'll just take you out for 1 sec, Kathy. Tapering stitches, for those of you that don't know, is on the Luminaire, and it's on the new Avenir. Are the tapering stitches on the Stellaire? I can't recall. I have to go look. I'm always using it on the corner.
Yeah, I think they came in with the upgrade that came out last summer.
The upgrade kit. Okay.
They are.
Yeah. Great. And I know that everyone's going to ask that. Who has that on their machine? So, yeah, I know. So just a quick question for you, Tina. You've got a couple things here. Sharon wants to know, hey, Sharon, great to see you. She says, is the cat quilting design, was that on the Avenir, did you say, or did I misunderstand?
Yeah, that quilting design that has the little kitty cats chasing the yarn balls, that's one of the designs that's on the new Avenir machine.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Okay. You got it. All right, Tina. Well, so now that we got Kathy up here, I'm going to let Tina take it away for a moment because she has more.
All right. So next I thought we'd talk about creating some additional visual interest appliques by combining finished stitches. So let's look at a couple samples, and then I'll go over to the machine and show you how you can design something like this with the My Design Center. So here's an applique here, and you see I've got the satin stitch around the frame border, and all of this was done in the Design Center. But then I've layered in white thread a bean stitch that runs right through the middle of the satin stitch. I don't know if you can see that. That's probably easier to see, right?
Oh yeah, we can see that perfect. Look at those stitches.
And that's a really classic kind of high-end applique finish to layer the bean stitch down the middle. And it's really, really easy to do. You can do it in software, of course, but I'm going to show you how you can also do it within the Design Center, since many of our machines feature that. And then this is one of my favorite combinations. So there's a lot going on in the applique here. I'm going to hold it up close. But I've got a blanket stitch in red, let's see, over the black satin stitches around the edge. Isn't that cool? I love the way that looks. And then I've got, of course, the puffy foam on the numbers. And then I've combined fabric and glitter HTV. So, you know, that rule of how many things can you combine in one project. I'm not sure what the max number is, but we haven't hit it yet.
That's beautiful.
So let's step over to, oh, sorry, Kathy.
No, everybody's giving you a gazillion plus comments. I'm sorry. I'm just getting carried away watching the comments, and everybody's like, this is great. I love this.
All right, so let's look at this screen here on the machine, and I'll show you quickly how you can use the Design Center to do some of these things. So to get started, and I already saved it, I basically pulled one of the shapes that's in the Design Center at the little heart here, and I resized it so it fits here on the screen. If you're not sure where the shapes are, they're under this icon right here, and there's lots of shapes you can pull from. And again, if we remember our applique process, right, we have a placement line that's typically a run stitch. I'm going to skip the tack down because I told you guys earlier, I pre-cut all my applique fabric with fusible on the back. So literally I do the placement line, and then I have a small little tiny iron that I fuse it down, and then I finish the applique. All right, so basically to assign the run stitch, there's your shape. You'll come in here. I've got all these cool stitches, right? There's the candle whip. We can play with that too. But here's my run stitch, and I'll pick a color. All right, we'll go to the next page. And again, the only change for a run stitch is the stitch length, and I don't need to do that. I don't have any really tight curves in here, so we'll go ahead and set and open it up on embroidery. And so now we're going to add that satin stitch. So that's going to be add. We're going to pull back from the design center a second time. We're going to go to the pocket where I saved that same heart. And it's good to save it in between because then it'll be the same size, right? So here's that same heart I just pulled up a second ago. Now this time I'm going to assign a satin stitch to it. So here's my stitch types. There's our satin. Let's go ahead and make it blue. And then on the next page for the set, I guess I have to assign it, don't I? So let's go back here. I missed that part. The bucket or the flood fill, and then touch the shape. And then on here on this page, I like to actually increase the width of my satin stitches a little bit for my appliques, just so in case I don't land my piece exactly correct, I have a little bit of forgiveness in here. So I'm just going to widen this up just one click to 0.1. And you can also, it's a design option if you want to make it much wider than that, but that's fine for this one. All right, and then we'll set it. So now it's layered the satin on top of my placement. And so now if I want to add another stitch that runs, let's do the bean stitch first. It's going to run down the center of my satin stitch. So it's going to be add again, back into the design center, and then we'll pull up that same heart again. Now this time for this stitch, rather than just a run stitch, I'm going to choose the bean stitch, which is right here. And that just means it's going to go over each one of those stitches 3 times, so we'll have a little bit more visual weight. And let's give it a color that hopefully you guys can see on the screen. And again, we'll assign it by touching the bucket and then touching the shape. All right, and again, it's basically a modified run stitch, so I don't need to change the stitch length because I don't have any tight curves here. And we'll set. Now, can you see that the bean stitch is running right down the center of my satin stitch there? Let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger. So it's running straight down the middle. So that's how easy it is to layer in that bean stitch. So again, just pick your shape and size it, save it to the memory pocket, and then after you do your satin, pull it back up again and assign the bean stitch to it, right? Now, if we want to do the blanket stitch, let's go ahead and delete the bean stitch now. So let's go back in now, and instead of the bean stitch, let's do the blanket stitch. So let's pull up that same shape. And this time, I'm going to pick the blanket stitch. And some people call it an E stitch. And there may be other names for it that I haven't even heard yet. So if anybody has another name for a blanket stitch, I'd love to hear it. So now I've assigned it. Now, when we come in here, remember my satin stitch was 0.1, and now so is my blanket stitch. And so we'll just go ahead and set that. And now let's enlarge this. And you can see that blanket stitch is just running right over the satin stitch. It's a little hard to see. Can we zoom? Let me see if I can zoom just a little bit for you here. Does it show up better there?
Just a wee bit blurry. I don't know why. I think it's focusing on the thread instead of the screen. Let's see if that works. There we go. Yay.
Better. So that's how easy it is for you guys to use the Design Center feature on your machines to kind of play around with the different finishing stitches and layer the finishing stitches back together.
Yeah, that looks great. All right. So I'm reading the comments. They love the designs in there. And how simple was that in the My Design Center? I mean, super simple. Somebody was asking Cathy to show it on the Luminaire, but you kind of just showed it on the 10 needle, which is the exact same process.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
Cathy, what else did you have more for us? Because I wanted to catch you before in case anything went out. I didn't mean to cut you off earlier if I did.
Oh, no problem. No. Well, I have, now this is an old technique, and this is called invisible applique. So if you look at the butterfly here, you go ahead and do the shape, and then you're going to sew it on with invisible thread using the blind hem stitch. So it gives it like it's a 3D. It sort of sticks out. So to do that, you're going to take your design and trace it onto a piece of fusible interfacing, lightweight fusible interfacing. And then you're going to stitch all the way around it. So you're just going to trace it onto the fusible interfacing. You're going to put your fabrics right side together. The fusible side is down towards the decorative fabric, and they're right sides together. Then you're going to trim to where you have 1/8 of an inch all the way around, and then clip into your corners. And then you're going to cut a slit into that interfacing. So I have a slit cut into the interfacing. Then you're going to take a bobbin, I don't know if you can see that or not, and a straw. Now, I should have smaller straws, but I don't have any, and I got these big straws for my grandkids. So to do this better, you need a smaller straw.
I'm thinking, do I need to put a disclaimer that's not a brother product? I think we're good. It's just a straw.
It's a straw. So you're going to take that, and this is really nice if you have a small applique and a corner. So you're going to take this straw, and you're going to shove it up into the piece of your applique, and then you're going to take your bobbin and push it in. And then I would do that on all 4 petals. And then when I pull it out, I have this ready to turn right side out. But if you have corners, it really works well. And so after I get it all turned, I have this. And because it has the fusible on the back, it's ready to fuse down and then use the invisible thread with the blind hem stitch to stitch it down. It really is a nice technique. It just gives it a 3D look. It's just a really fun thing to do. But it's an old-timey thing. It's been around for a while.
That's cool. I've not seen that before because I don't do a lot of applique. I do more applique like what Tina's wearing. But there's people here, though, that Sharon said she loves that turning technique. She knew it before you were even half finished, so she must have done this before. All the secrets out there that we didn't know that we needed a straw for.
Right, yeah, it's really nice, so you don't have to do the needle turn. It just makes it a lot easier to get that applique turned and give it a sort of a 3D look. It doesn't, you don't have the edge just sewn down so hard that it gives you a softer look.
That's beautiful. So Tina, you get a big shout out here. She says she's had her still air since 2019, and you still teach her new things on here. Another new trick. Thank you. Thank you. So it's funny, you know, the best part of a lot of what they're showing you, so many of the brother machines, once you have one, they all kind of work the same way. You just showed a multi-needle, which is exactly the My Design Center that we have on some of the other machines. So that's such a great thing because you can combine and learn from so many different things, except you have to, if you have a single needle, then you have to change the thread in between each one. Other than that, might be a tad slower too, but not too bad. All right. So Tina, somebody asked down here, are those from my rose collection? So you got to show your sweater. No, they're not, by the way, but she must have had a really good premonition that I was making roses. My designs are exclusive to the Avenir. Those are beautiful. Everyone was asking. So you did that on organza, not tulle.
I did it on, organza, and then just used the heat tool around the edges and then just sewed it with invisible thread. Yep.
It's just beautiful. Just beautiful. Everybody's saying, I absolutely love it. Yeah, this is what, and Michelle, I asked before you even got up here. I read your mind. So Michelle said, can you explain what stitches? So you used invisible thread. Did you use a blanket stitch or just free motion?
I kind of just free motioned it, which is not something I'm particularly good at, but with invisible thread, I pulled it off.
You know, that's what I did. And I know that a lot of the Brother fans were over on Instagram this weekend. I finally posted the photo of the dress I did, which was very similar. I did that on an applique, but it was on tulle. And so once I did it, I just did the free motion as well. And I use color to match the dress, and then some colors to match the embroidery. Invisible thread would have been so much easier if I had had that around. But after I did it, I just trimmed off the edge of the tulle, very similar to what you did with the organza. And then if, like you said, if you make a mistake while you're embroidering, that of course we don't do, but I showed everyone one of my designs last week that I was embroidering. I walked away, the hoop popped open and I didn't know it. I heard it because everyone knows their machine, that noise, you're like, no, something happened. So that was human error, not machine error. But good news is that I was just doing it on tools. So I just lost like an hour and a half of time. So I just started over and did it again. But by doing that, you can add appliques to bags, garments, jackets, a lot of ready to wear. Once you have this beautiful jacket or something that you purchased, hopefully you made it yourself, but sometimes you got to buy one or a pair of jeans. What happens if you embroider right on it? You don't want to rip that out. And so it's such an easy way to add that applique. I really like that idea of having the fusible in the back though. The way you did it to make it kind of puffy, Cathy, that's pretty fun.
That is cool. I've never seen that technique before. That's really fun.
Yeah.
Can you hold up your quilt again a second, Cathy? Can you hold up your quilt just for 1 second?
I'm sorry.
Oh, your quilt?
Oh.
You got to love when we're live. There's always like some little internet glitch, but okay, I'm going to leave her up here by herself and just hold it there. Just steady. That's beautiful.
That's really pretty. So you did that turning technique on the butterflies?
Yes. Yeah, so I sewed the pieces of the butterfly together, and then I top stitched it a little bit around to here, and then I did the turning method. And then I added the center, and then did some stitching up here for the antennas and a little star stitch. Let me see, I've got one down here. You can see this one better, that I added the antennas and the little star stitch at the end of the antenna.
You can really see the dimension of that technique. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it really is nice.
That's beautiful. And one of the common things with applique is having the backing that you can just put right down and press it in place. Makes it really easy to do. So somebody's asking you, Tina, did you use any iron-on backing or anything on that, or for your roses, or did you just lay them flat? I think who had asked that.
I did too. I used both. I went ahead and put a really lightweight iron-on fusible on just to hold it in place, because I was afraid, as bad as my free motioning is, that it would end up on the back of my sweater instead.
We don't want that, although it would look cute there too.
Well, applique started as a mending, to mend something. So if you had a hole, you would put an applique over it. That's where sashiko came from. The Japanese sashiko was to mend their fabric. So we have just elevated it into our decorative work. It's just amazing.
Okay, I did not know that technical part of that. I just knew they're both beautiful, but I had no idea that it was to mend fabric.
Cathy,
yeah. Miss Maureen says, appliques come a long way from what I did in the 90s. Well, I think Miss Maureen, that's also when I saw the duck on my towel in my kitchen. So yeah, it definitely has. Oh gosh. Okay. Oh, that's a fun idea, Karen. Have you all ever tried this with the trapunto? I never can say that right. Trapunto. Where you did the same technique you just did and put a little batting in there. That would work, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you could bleed the opening and stuff some batting in there if you wanted to, yeah. But then you'd have to applique it on. I don't, usually trapunto is inside the quilted area, that you just stuff a quilted area, not an applique. But that would work. That would be fun. Give it a try and let us know how it works.
Yeah, Karen, give it a try. Post it so we can see it. So I was telling Tina here, I have a couple gifts here. I love it when I get something in the mail, and the brother people are so fun, by the way, all the fans, the Wolf Pack. Of course, a lot of my things include squirrels, which all those are at the house. But I do have these two great appliques that a friend of mine gave me, and I leave them right here on my desk, and I put them for my coffee cups. These make, and they're all just appliques, but they're so much fun and so cute, and they make great gifts. Just great gifts. And the more decorative the stitching on it, I think it just gives it so much more life. Like this one, she has rows of stitching, which you could easily do with a fill, and a little bit of metallic thread in there. Yeah, a lot of fun. I think I was actually technically supposed to give this to Win, and this was for me, but I kept them both at this point.
Don't tell.
Don't tell him. When he comes in to help, you can all let him know. Julie says you all are a wealth of information. So any last minute tips? Well, we still have some more time if you guys have more to share.
Yeah, I got a few things. I thought maybe we'd spend a couple minutes thinking about all the different kinds of materials you can use with applique projects.
Oh, that's a good one.
All right, so I'm going to pop back over here. So this one, I mean, the bright green is a fabric, of course. And then, you know, what creates more visual interest than glitter HTV behind it, right? And again, what's fun about the glitter HTV is once you have the stitches down, it's easier, I think, with a satin stitch, but you can still do it with a run stitch. I'm trying to find my bunny sample from earlier. But the stitching actually perforates the glitter vinyl, and then you can just literally tear away the excess. So you don't even have to pre-cut it or anything, which makes it a super fun and easy material to work with. But, you know, fabrics we've been using for a long time, but don't be afraid to layer that on top of something with a little bling, something like this. And of course, we've got our cool Brother creative printers now. So here's an applique, and I basically created the custom fabrics in the Artspira app. And this is my kids when they were playing basketball back in high school. But isn't that a fun way to personalize an applique and really kind of bring in family photos or special memories? So don't be afraid to incorporate your creative printers with it. Here's another example where I printed out the dog fabric, or the dog print, and the little puppy's picture on Printmoto. So now they're ready to be cut out, have the fusible added to the back, and then incorporated into an applique. And that would look something just like that. And here you see I got a couple different finishes, right? So on the letter, or the D and the G, I've got the satin stitch with a bean stitch down the middle. And then for the dog, I actually put 2 sets of satin stitches in different color threads just to make him a little more dimensional and make him pop a little bit. So that's kind of a fun one. And then remember, we also have our sublimation printer. So here's a similar project, right? This is a 100% polyester white fabric that's been printed with a sublimation printer, and then that's been incorporated into the applique. Now this is kind of like I don't even know what kind of fabric it would be. It feels like canvas, but I know it was 100% polyester when I bought it. But I also did this one, and this is actually just white minky that I printed.
That turned out great, Tina. I love that.
Isn't that cute? And what's fun about the minky is I can actually pet the dog. He's furry. That sounds like a 4-year-old, don't I? Oh, all right. Now, here's another example. You know, we talked earlier about the faux chenille. So the Relax is, again, one of those microfiber cloths that you can use to dust or whatever. And then it's got the glitter HTV behind it. And then, we'll pull this up here. And the glitter HTV actually has the bean stitch running down the middle of the satin in blue here on the edges. But isn't that pretty? And you get so much visual interest. And it's just a simple applique project, but combining different materials. And then this is the first one I tried to do with faux chenille. And so this is actually toweling. So regular, you know, like a hand towel, up close so you can see. and then just incorporated that in a satin stitch. I will say for you guys at home, if you want to try one of these faux chenille techniques, having done it lots of different ways, I think you will appreciate doing it with the microfiber cloths more than you will with regular toweling, because the microfiber is much easier to cut. I literally just put the fusible sheet on the back of the microfiber cloth and then run it through the scan and cut with a standard blade on the standard mat, and it works perfect every time.
Okay, so Tina, I'm looking at that fabric, and I have a stack of those microfiber towels because I buy them in bulk because we use them to clean everything from the boat to, and there's always part of it that gets ruined from stains and the other part that's great. Oh, that's what I need, another stash. But I think this could fit in a small bin because it looks so cool on those lettering.
Yeah, and remember when you go to order the next one, don't get the boring colors, get the fun colors, right? Like lime green and hot pink and aqua.
I do have bright orange, the boring blue, bright orange, and bright yellow. I haven't seen the hot pink, or I'm going to be all over that one. Everyone says, love it, love it. Miss Maureen wants to know, Tina, did you use the offset in the My Design Center for the glitter HTV on the background?
Oh, yes, I did. Let's see, there's two ways to do it. The easiest way is when you have the original design up, to use the stamp key, and that creates like the bubble right around your design, and then you just increase the distance around the design. And if you want, I can show you at the machine real quick.
Yeah, why don't you? If you don't mind. Everyone loves to see it, so they can go do this at home.
All right. So basically, I'm going to pull up one of the frames and use it for my shape here. So let's just pull one in. So if I wanted to do an offset around the heart, the simple, easy way is use the stamp key. It's the one that looks like the flower icon here. And you'll notice that it's just going to conform to the shape of your design. And then basically just play with the distance and just keep increasing the distance outside of it. So you get the distance that you like. So however much, and you can make it as big as will fit in your hoop. And you'll notice that the larger the offset distance is, the kind of the less detail you have in the final shape, but that's okay. And then basically just press the memory key, and it tells you it's going to save that in the design center in the stamp pattern list. So then we would come in here and add, and we would go to the design center, and it told us to come to this icon here. And sure enough, there's the stamp. And there's the one I just made with the heart. So let's go ahead and let's put a candlewick stitch around that. All right. That looks really cute. Of course, I can adjust the spacing and the sizes, but we'll go ahead and set that. Look how cute that is. So now I have the offset around the original applique shape, and I've used a candlewick stitch to create some additional detail. But so quick and easy with all the features that are on the machine. Now, while I'm here, for those of you with a scan and cut, in case you don't know this, if you have applique files at home that you don't have cut files for and you want to pre-cut your fabric, you can actually create the cut file here on the embroidery machine. I'm going to go in here to my color tiles, and I'm going to select whatever stitch element. In this case, it'll be we'll say the black one is my placement line. So I'll select the placement line. I'm going to toggle over here. These are where you have all your thread palettes, right? So I'm just going to toggle over till I get to the one called embroidery. And if I scroll all the way to the bottom, I've got these three special characters here that are for applique. This first yellow one here has scissors on it. So I'm going to change that thread color to that one, and you'll notice it's called applique material. And I'll save this onto a flash drive and take it to my scan and cut. And when I open up that file, which will be in the B pocket because you created it at the machine, the scan and cut will automatically see whatever shape that thread color is assigned to as a cut line, and you're able to cut it with the scan and cut super quickly and easily.
Okay, Tina, I'm just going to have to jump in here and say I am so thrilled you showed that, and for a few reasons. in my Luminaire Masterclass, I had showed how to do an applique like that. And you showed it so perfectly to show you have to go back to that on when you're going through the threads to where it says embroidery. And that's a part that I think a lot of people miss. And it's always like, oh, I didn't realize you could do that. So that's where it is. That's where the applique button is. How simple is that?
Yeah, it's magic. I mean, it really is magic.
Yeah, and if you don't have a scan and cut, you know, when I'm adding, I turn a lot of things into applique, and sometimes it's a last minute thing where I'll think, you know what, I think I'm going to add an applique here, and it might just be a different kind of fabric. If I'm working on suede, I might add something that has a little shine to it, like some silk or something like that. And I don't want to cut it on the scan and cut, and I really didn't want to put a backing on it. I want it to have that natural feel, which silk is very slinky. So once you add that applique right there, I just place the fabric on and just take my sharp scissors and trim around, and it just looks beautiful. I do use like a fusible interfacing, a garment fusible interfacing for the backing on the silk, so it doesn't, you know, get goopy. I mean, like goopy. Is goopy the new word for crinkly? Yeah, I guess that's the Tuesday word for the day. We always have a word for the day. It's goopy. I don't know how you spell it, but that's it. No goopy fabric. Tina, everybody's saying thank you, thank you, thank you. I love it. Yes, I know. We could do tutorials all day. Everybody's saying thank you. All right, Cathy, you have anything else you want to share? Hi, Jenny. Great to see you.
Just in the machine, you can take a design, and I'm sure Tina's probably already showed this, and turn it into an applique. So this is Mickey and Minnie, and I just turned them into an applique and appliqued them onto the purse.
Super cute. I did not show that, Cathy. Cute.
So I did do the first, you do the embroidery, and then you do the applique, do the cutting line, and then you do the placement line on the fabric that you choose to put it on, and then you place what you've done down and do the applique stitch around it. So you can turn any embroidery design in your machine into an applique.
That is beautiful. So between your two Mickeys, I think I can think of a lot.
I got the Minnie on the other side. So.
Oh wait, let me see. Let me see that, Cathy. Bring that back up. Oh my gosh, is that cute? Oh, that is super cute. Hi, Margie. We're still live. You didn't miss anything.
And then this is a built-in design in the. It's going to be in the Avenir. So I just used the Minky for the bear. So he's real fuzzy. And so then you're going to want to use when you do that, you're going to want to use a stabilizer on top, a water soluble or an iron away to make sure that he stays fuzzy and the stitches you're able to see the stitches.
That is precious.
That's cute.
That is precious. So by the way, she said that was in the Avenir, which you all know you can go visit your brother dealer and make a deposit on right now. They aren't shipping for a few more months here yet, but you're getting a preview of what's out there. But I want to encourage you, because I know we have a lot of Luminaire and Stellaire users here, and there are built-in applique designs in your machine. And I'm curious to know if you even knew that, because, you know, I can think of my first embroidery machine was the Quattro. And I literally just sewed all day. That's all I really ever did. I designed clothes for people all over. And then I would embroider a little bit as I got into it. But I still have my Quattro. And the other day someone said, you know that design's in the Quattro? And I thought, you got to be kidding me. And I went, sure enough, I never went through half of those designs. There's a ton in there. So exactly. I would love to know those that have the Stellaire and Luminaire. Have you seen the applique designs? And, you know, I'm almost positive that if you go to iBroidery.com, you can find some there as well that will work in your machine. And I'm wondering if Art Spira has added any yet. I haven't checked. I did get an alert that they have some new designs that just popped up today. I haven't had a chance to go through the app. Has anybody had a chance to let us know? Let us know in the chat. Did you go to Art Spira?
But also, if you have My Connection and you have an embroidery design that has a large area and you want to turn it into an applique, you can do that with My Connection. So if you have a Stellaire with My Connection or a luminaire with my connection, you can turn part of an embroidery design into an applique with that.
Yeah, and I actually have a little step out if you want to look really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the designs.
Yes, thank you.
So it's a big butterfly. It really is pretty, but basically it has almost 60,000 stitches in it, and it's over an hour and a half stitch out. And so what you do in the My Connection is you go through and you pick the thread colors that are fill stitches that you want to convert to an applique. And then it takes the fill stitches out and it creates the cut file for the scan and cut. And then you can pick the finishing stitches. So in this one, these were the segments that I turned into applique components. And then when you put it all back together, I layered some Mylar over it. Here's the redone design. So you can see my stitch count is about half what it was previously. It stitches out now in only 47 minutes instead of an hour and a half. And then look at, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I like bling. So the Mylar just makes me super happy.
That's gorgeous.
Oh my goodness. That is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love the Mylar on that.
Any fun? So yeah, My Connection makes it really easy to take those fill stitch designs that are on the machine and then really quickly make them faster to finish and turn them into appliques.
Love it. So Linda, nice to see you. And Linda wants to know, what is My Connection? And someone else asked, what is Mylar? It's beautiful. We'll start with My Connection. Who would like to take it away?
Cathy, you want to do My Connection? Grab some Mylar for you.
My Connection connects your machine to the scan and cut. So you can take designs out of the scan and cut and turn them into embroidery in my design center in your machine. This is with the Stellaire or the Luminaire and the Avenir, I'm sure. And then you can also take an embroidery design from your machine and turn it, part of it, into an applique by sending it over to the scan and cut and having the scan and cut part of the design for you. It's amazing. It just connects the two machines.
Yeah, and you can purchase, if your machine does not have it, when you look in your machine at the settings, it'll have either a blank, like a box without a check mark that'll say My Connection if you don't have that setting in your machine. So if that's the case, you can call your brother dealer and purchase the kit to have that put into. I don't know if it's called technically.
Yeah, you have to have a certain scan and cut. Yes.
Yep. Oh, perfect. All right, Tina's back. What do you got for us, Tina?
Great. Well, I thought I'd show them what the Mylar is, and so it's basically, it's shiny. It's almost like a product that you would find in a gift bag or whatnot. Some people I know use Mylar balloons, and basically you just lay it down on top of your whatever you're stitching and let the stitches go on top. You typically want to reduce your density so you can actually see the shine coming through. And then kind of like the puffy foam, the stitches perforate the Mylar material. So when you're done stitching, you can just basically pull away the excess Mylar. So it's quick and easy to use. I will say, if you're using it on like a garment or something that's going to be washed, sometimes I put it in towels as well, just to give them a little bit of bling. And Angela, for you with all your fishing, it's a great addition to fish designs because it almost makes them look real. But go ahead and get the kind of Mylar that's specifically made for embroidery, because it'll hold up to the laundering process. It is possible to iron Mylar if you put it on a shirt or whatnot, but iron it from the wrong side with low heat.
Oh, that's a really good tip. And you know, also if you have an iron shoe, a lot of times you can iron it. Well, technically I use an iron shoe and I can usually press right on it, but I'm going to say don't do that, because if you don't have the right iron shoe, I don't want to get an email that you melted your Mylar. That's the goopy MM.
Exactly.
And also don't ever use a spray adhesive to hold the Mylar down when it's stitching, because the spray adhesive will take the shine right out of it.
You know, that's really interesting. And I'm going to just say that without saying brands of anything. But speaking of fishing, if you use a spray suntan lotion, which obviously is not a brother product, guys, but like everyone goes crazy. It says it takes the wax off your boat. Now, of course, I know don't spray anything around the fishing line because it makes the fishing line weak, but it actually takes the wax off your boat. So which is taking the shine off. And you're saying the same thing. It's almost like the same thing in a different realm.
That's cool. I didn't realize you could use the suntan lotion to clean up the boat. That's a good tip for me.
Yeah, no, don't. It takes the wax off. Yeah, don't. Your husband will never talk to me again. So that is a true fact, something that I do. So there you go. 2 things that takes the shine out. All right. Let's see. Everybody's asking again. Michelle, nice to see you again. Does it have to be a certain model of scan and cut? Do you guys have any other details about the kit?
I believe it works with the SDX.
Right now, it has to be the 325 and the 220. Is it? Yeah.
The 330 and the
325 and the the 330 and the one the 325, I believe. Yeah, the one below it. I mean the top of the line Disney one or non-Disney. So it has to be the top scan and cut, and it has to either be the Disney or the non-Disney.
Yeah, and you know what, Michelle?
When you get the scan and cut, you'll get a card in there, an activation card.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, you'll get an activation card. I'm going to put this little link up here. You just have to read it really fast. But brother-usa.com/dealer -locator. And you'll find a dealer by you, because that's where you'd want to pick that up. And, you know, I have a couple scan and cuts. One's an older model. And I was going through, because I have some girls that come and sew with me, and they said, I want to play with that. So I opened it up. I had a card in there for the vinyl kit and didn't even realize it. So all of you that have your scan and cut, you might see all these cards, you know, you get so many things in your packages, like, you know, mail this and mail that, or just, you know, promo stuff. It was actually worth something. So check your scan and cut box. If you've got the little card, I think I have one. Right here. Canvas Workspace, 3 patterns, activation. This is what we found in there. Yeah. So hello, I've had this for a couple of years. I missed out on all the designs. So if you have a little container like this with your scan and cut, it's not junk mail. Open it up. There's a lot of freebies in there. Oh my gosh, so much fun. All right, any last minute questions? Our hour is just about it. Do either of you have anything else you wanted to share before I end this?
I think I'm good.
I think we gave them.
I just think applique is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's easy to do. And there's so many good tutorials out there as well. So I put Brother Sews down below. You know, they have a blog for sewing and crafting. Don't forget to pop over to those, because I'm sure there's some applique on there. In fact, I know there is. And also I put my website, angelawolf.com. I updated your calendar all the way through the end of the month, so you can see what's coming on the Brother shows. And there's also links for you just in case you're new here and don't know that we're here every Tuesday, unless, you know, a storm hits or something happens to the live show or whatever. So this is a lot of fun. Be sure to share what you're doing. Use hashtag Brother Sews, hashtag Brother Scan and Cut too, because that definitely relates to this. And if you ever have questions, even when you're watching the replay, drop them in the chat, because Brother Social will send them over to us and we'll answer for you. We love to make sure that you have sewing and embroidery success. And now today, applique success. All right, so I think we have everyone. I'm making sure there aren't any last minute questions. Everybody's saying thank you, thank you. Many ideas. Yes. You two, I just put the sign right in front of your head, Tina. You two are a wealth of information. I love it when we have shows with a few of us just sharing ideas, because you can learn so much. I'm intrigued about that Mylar. I used it a little bit, but then I kind of put it to the side. But I'm kind of thinking, you know, the sleeves behind me, those roses that are in the Avenir, those are pretty stitch intense. They're not super stiff, but there's I think one sleeve took 2.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
But if I digitized and took some of that out and used some of the Mylar in there, that could be beautiful. Oh, yeah. Goodness, Tina. You just give me more to do. More to think about it. Everybody's saying thank you, thank you, thank you. So guess what? Next week we have a show Tuesday at noon, and I will be on there. Speaking of sewing, we were just on here, Tina and I were talking about organizing, and the first thing that came up in my closet was hemming some pants. I have some pants that are too short that I'm going to turn into capris, and that'll be for spring then, of course. And then I have some jeans that I bought and jeans that I made that are too long. So in next week's show, I'm going to show you how to hem using the blind hem foot on your sewing machine and also the blind hem on your serger. Cathy, you know what that means. I'm going to be using the Airflow, and anyone who purchases the Airflow or has it, if you have it, if you didn't know this, register on Brother's site and you will have access to our class that we did. We had Cathy and Cathy on there, and oh my gosh, the serging tips on there were amazing. 14 lessons, and one of them was blind hem with your pants. Blind hemming your pants. All right, everyone. Thank you again. Thanks for being here. And again, nice to see both of you. And until next time, happy sewing. See ya.
Bye.